Hello everybody, Zest here and welcome back to HOI4. In today's video we're going to be playing as France because we received a request to look at one of their more forgotten pasts. Specifically we're going to be looking at inviting communist ministers and loyalty to the cause. So let's begin, shall we? First things first, we must form the Popular Front. Next we are going to be creating an intelligence agency. We're going to be upgrading this for things like ciphers, second spy. This is going to be extremely useful today. There are no research specialities today, so electronics, industry and so on. Just in case we fight Germany, I am going to be spamming CAS, so we're going to have 5 factories on that to start. But any future factories from that point will go into guns. Speaking of civs though, we're going to spam mills. It's a break from spamming civs when we've been playing the Soviet Union, isn't it? Anyway, 72 divisions. So many different templates. Let's gather them up and put them into some equal stacks. Something like this will probably do for now. We'll have to standardise it later, but for now put it most in metropolitan France, I think. Good sized air force, gather it up and let's exercise it. Similarly with the navy. I would exercise it, but France has no fuel. So let's just gather it up all in like Calais or something. Something that we can do, considering that we're democratic right now, is we can go over to our garrison law and change it over to local autonomy. We won't have this forever, but for now it's very useful. And that's all of our prep out the way. So let's go to speed 5 and begin loyalty to the cause. With our spy, we're going to send them to Germany to build an intel network. Now that we've made the Popular Front, we need to make it even more popular by inviting communist ministers. One day we probably will do denying Rhineland, but today is not that day. Oh dear, it's the French election and we have communists in government? Well, rather reform than revolution. Events like these are going to be very useful today. We need at least 45% of the support before we can force the issue. So focuses like strengthen the unions, celebrate the commune will be very useful today. But any extra support that we don't need a focus for, very nice. And there we go, we've invited some communist ministers. But unfortunately this focus does have one of these political violence events. While we could do prosecute those responsible, that would give us more support for non-aligned fascism, which we don't need, so unfortunately we will probably every time have to do prosecute those responsible, even though it does dip it into negative political power. So let's get some more political power by doing women's suffrage. We have a good amount of command power right now, and anyone who's played France will know this. We're going to promote Jean Tassinguy here to Field Marshal, because all of other France's Field Marshals are no good. I really don't know why France starts with this as its main tank division. At least this has some motorised, so we're going to get rid of that. It's funny, us giving women's suffrage, because when we flip ideology, we won't have any elections. I guess it's a case of once everyone has equality, no one will be. Anyway, let's do legal equality. But hey, women's suffrage is useful just because of that extra political power gain. It's basically a free silent workhorse. I would have hoped we would have gotten an event to increase our communist support by now, but that hasn't happened, so yet again having to prosecute those responsible. I would have hoped that we wouldn't have to do strengthen the unions, but as far as I see we have no choice. So there we go. Sometimes you can get an event that just increases your communist support because you have communists in government. Well, that took us a whole year, but finally, let's force the issue. And there we go, the issue has been forced. Now that we've flipped, we've got a few things we must do. First thing, no more local autonomy, civilian oversight. Second, we're going to start boosting ideology in Germany. Second, we're going to start saving political power for a few days so we can get a justification going on British Malaya. The revolution triumphant. And there we go, justification on Malaya, let's wait a few extra days. There we go, 11 political power. The main problem with loyalty to the cause that I've seen for most people is the fact that you have to destroy the counter-revolution, which gives you a civil war. But as I said, we're going to do loyalty to the cause today, we have no choice. So, revolution to the utmost. I completely forgot about France's other ships that they were building. Whoops. Let's just spam some subs for now. You know, actually, we've spammed subs many times, changed my mind. Let's spam some destroyers, and have it deployed to the main fleet. And soon enough, the counter-revolution will be eliminated. With 30 days into the Civil War, we're going to improve relations with Italy. We have a deficit of guns, and despite our ideological differences, just asking nicely with Italy will give us plenty of equipment. So I don't see a downside. And there we go. Civil War. Fortunately, the Civil War is very small. Our support for non-aligned fascists is ridiculously tiny, so right now what we're going to do is just run them down. But I am not going to say no to some of that sweet Lend-Lease, if you know what I mean, Italy. Oh, how nice of you. Just saving political power for a few days, by the way. Let's hire ourselves that elusive gentleman. Don't know where that 25 political power came from. And let us finally show our loyalty to the cause. We could cheese the Civil War if we wanted to by changing our units over and all that, but we've done that so many times. So you know what, let's just wipe this out. And hey, some extra XP is always a positive, isn't it? And there was the counter-revolution, which had absolutely nothing. You know what, I think this is a complete bluff. We will not be limited in our ambitions. I'd be genuinely surprised if this came to anything. And if it does, well, free war for us. Hete. Well, considering one of my best friends is a Turk, I don't think he'd let me forget if I didn't give Hete back. There you go. Anyway, here's something special. Ever since No Step Back, doing loyalty to the cause and anti-fascist coalition has actually been changed. So instead of the previous leader of the French Commune, we now have this, René Nicod. Which is actually alright, because he gives non-core manpower and extra war support. And doing this focus also gives us this faction, the Paris Accords. Which is nice, but to be honest, nah. There's only one faction for us today. There we go. And let's immediately become Spymaster. Anyway, I would do carry the revolution north, but that would alert the UK AI to what we're planning to do. So what we're actually going to do is Revolutionary Zeal, which is actually quite nice, extra attack and defense on core territory. So, anyway, how are we going to defeat Britain? Simple, we're going to naval invade around Portsmouth and Dover. I know, going through the channel isn't the best, but we don't really have much options. So I'm not invading all the way from, like, Archangelist today. So, we're going to do 2 divisions in each tile, something to support them all, and that should do it. It's the reason why we're not doing carry the revolution north. Britain's AI can't really detect the fact that we're justifying on them right now. If we did the focus, they would be able to detect what we're doing. So, nah, we'll just do the thing that leaves them blindsided. Main problem with this is we'll only get around a moment's supremacy before the UK puts its navy out, but that's all we need. The problem is we may or may not be intersected, but oh well, as long as we get one port, that should be enough. Anyway, there is another plan I'm currently formulating. We have units far-flung that we can use to potentially naval invade Britain's other colonies so we can get them in the peace deal as well. So we'll have some naval invasions planned from like St. Pierre into like this tile, and once our naval invasions into the UK goes, we'll activate them. So we'll have a unit for Canada, a unit for Middle Congo to take South Africa. One unit is on this tile for French India. It'll probably be destroyed, but at least it'll get us in the peace deal with French Raj. French Raj, what am I saying? You get what I'm saying. And we have 2 units here in New Caledonia, one to naval invade Australia, one to naval invade New Zealand. Anyway, I have the fleet, this tiny little fleet of subs, in the right places. Hopefully, again, we just get enough supremacy to naval invade them. Whether or not, I don't know, but at least it's an interesting idea we can experiment with. I mean, that's what this is all about today, experimenting. We'll also have our Air Force, literally all of it, over the channel on naval strike and port strike. Any support we can give ourselves in the moments we have will be very useful. And this is the other unique thing that you get from doing loyalty to the cause. This spy right here, Jacques. Infiltrator and a natural orator, always useful. Anyway, justification of British Malaya is ready. So Navy on strike force. We're going to really take the speed down for this. There we go. Our naval invasions are ready. Let's do this. Declare on British Malaya. And there you go. Naval invasions have left, so let's now delete them and assign on other naval invasions so they go as soon as possible. And there they all go. There you go, that bypassed carry the revolution north. That was one thing I wanted to do. And it looks like we're going to get Portsmouth for free, which is very nice actually. I will activate forced attack though, just so we can help secure Dover. But it's already pretty strong for us. We can now just transfer the rest of the army over and begin to run down Britain. I think our plan of distracting the UK AI has worked. The UK's AI has to defend all of its colonies and I don't. So let's go get them. And there's the interception I expected to happen. We're going to tell them to disengage. Something you can do is to put your engagement rule down. In fact, we're going to put it on at low risk because that's all we need. This invasion has gone off without a hitch. I mean, the Navy definitely got a bit of a battering, hasn't it? But we made landfall, which is always more than enough. And we even managed to secure Dover. Oh, and our first ace. Rare to not need to encircle London, but it's always nice when we don't have to, because we can just run over it. But we still need big victory points like Edinburgh and Glasgow. The UK is already pretty much done. So, any victory point now, I suppose. Who would have thought that the Battle of Hull would be the end of the UK? What do you know, it actually worked perfectly with invading the Dominions. We get all of them. Great. So I guess that's what we're going to do. We're just going to puppet absolutely everyone. Take what you want of the UK's colonies. It can sometimes be easier not to bother, actually. Because, you know, the UK will garrison them for you. I guess if you were going to take anything, it could be something like Gibraltar, or something that gives you resources. But I think for us, that's this peace deal done. And there we go, Treaty of Belfast. We took 2 states and got a whole load of puppets. Nice. That went very well, actually. That's probably one of the best naval invasions of the UK I've done. And that extra invasion of the Dominions, good. We got them all in one war. I'm sure many of you have done a war where the British Dominions just still exists and you have to go after them because they'll guarantee everything. But that's the end of that. Let's return to metropolitan France and prepare for the next step, Germany. If we're going after Germany, there is one thing we must do. Carry the revolution east. We're going to send Britain 717 convoys so we can make them an integrated puppet. Extra factories, extra units maybe. There's no reason not to. So we have 67 factories, 21 mills, 36 civs. Wonder how many we'll have after this. 41 and 48. Basically doubled the amount we have. Definitely a good thing. Let's also build some anti-air. There you go, carry the revolution. Now you might have thought we were going to go directly after Germany, but we're not. We're actually going to do this. Instigate workers' revolution in Germany. What it does is it either gives us a civil war or increases Germany's communism support by 25%. So either one of those would be useful for us. So let's put, I don't know, Jacques in there. And as soon as he is free after rescuing another operative, we'll do it. Definitely match priority on this one. In fact, I'm prepared to dismantle some units if I need to. Especially considering just how little support equipment we have. For focus now... Probably should upgrade France's economy, so let's get down to someone like General Work Council. There you go, all the guns they need, and now let's just absolutely positively spam support equipment. As soon as this happens, the better. Oh, spamming out guns by mistake. Whoops. There you go, that should speed things up. Actually, I'm completely wrong by sending Georges to do that anyway, because he's the only natural orator we have. So yeah, someone like Charles here is probably better. And there we go, it's underway. We'll be finished 20 days or so after Sudetenland, so if we are going to fight Germany, it'll be around that time. So back to regular production. So let's make a better template. 1 infantry, 1 artillery, and let's add that anti-air. There we go. Good template for now, should be able to push most of the way. Something that I have done in the past is to go after Luxembourg to get extra lend-lease from like Hungary and Italy, but we can do that another time. I guess we'll just continue to spam guns at this point. And we're definitely going to need more units. Luckily, we have this guy. There you go, literally an extra army from Britain. Not the best units, but they'll do. Or maybe not these, the colonial templates. Still though, mostly an extra army. France doesn't have the most amount of manpower, so if we're going to train units, they're probably going to be with Britain's manpower or British Raj. We have some, but it's better to use someone else's, you know? Fine, 17 extra French units just to pad out our front. Finally, war economy. Really get this economy going. France is like the ultimate snowball country. They take a long time, but once they get going, they get going. I do not like these Matignon agreements. I'll probably revoke them at some point. There we go, standardized most of our infantry with the OK template that we have. I'm going to use all of the rubbish units that the area can give us to defend against Italy's border, because Italy will more than likely join the Axis when we go to war. Or if and when we go to war. So, these may not be the best templates, but with Rene, the Mountaineer, they should be more than enough to hold Italy. Right, decided to change to carry the revolution west, deciding to have these operations available sooner rather than later is probably the best thing. Oh, and Greece has now gone after Albania, so good luck, you're gonna get annexed. And, yep, Germany declares on Czechoslovakia. We could help them and we could beat them. That's what we did in my practice game, and that was one of the funnest games I've ever had. But, nah. I want to see how this operation turns out first. And the operation is done. We didn't get the Civil War, so that must mean we got, yep, the ideological boost. So that means Germany is well over 60%, so any minute now, Germany should flip to communist. Funnily enough, communist is the only ideology Germany is allowed to flip to right now, because the democratic referendum is currently disabled. But any minute now, Wilhelm Pieck. Oh, and speak of the devil, the people have stood up in Germany. Wilhelm Pieck is in. Let's get military access and a non-aggression pact from him. Germany still has, unfortunately, its fascist focus tree and will come after France eventually. But if we were feeling especially cheeky, we could just order 66 them. Anyway, I guess next step is to take down Franco. Now, the operation that this gives, the Workers' Revolution, is the exact same as Germany's, unfortunately. All it does is either give Franco extra communist support or start a civil war in him, which is actually quite underwhelming considering Franco is not a major and you can coup him normally. This is especially bad because Franco can't actually flip communist like Germany can. His communist referendum is currently disabled, so it's literally just easier to take him down. Now, I would do carry the revolution south to coup Italy, but it's also the exact same. It's either 25% communist support or civil war. But unfortunately, if we fight Italy, they will just join Japan's faction, as they're the only major fascist faction left. So really, it's not worth doing Italy today. I mean, just getting Germany is already quite special in itself, isn't it? Anyway, all our units in position. Franco is very weak since the Civil War only ended this year. Let's go get him. For our focus, let's do something like France Indivisible for now. Yeah, this time I'm ensuring that La Corona it shouldn't be the end of this war. I'm going to just go for it now. Franco has no more than 20 divisions, while we have well over a full army group. It's going to be very, very unfortunate for him. And there's the end of Nationalist Spain. So what are we going to do with them? Ooh, that's special. We've got the glitch where cores aren't removed from one of the Spanish factions, so we can puppet either National Spain or the Regional Defence Council of Aragon out of them. You know what, I'm going to take all of Spain's colonies, which they also have cores on, as you can see, and then we'll puppet them there later. There we go. We'll just puppet National Spain as they are, so they make for a good puppet. There they go, and now let's release the Regional Defence Council. And there they are. Two little puppets. So we have Jose Diaz here. Very nice. Funnily enough, he will eventually restore the monarchy, as that's the only thing he's allowed to do. He can't do dictator for life. And we have the Spanish Commune with no portrait. Don't know what's happening here. There should be Julian Gorkin. Oh well, they got Federico, who actually has some nice traits. Also, funnily enough, they will eventually cause a civil war in Portugal with Portuguese anarchism. We better keep an eye out for that. But I think that's everything. We have actually explored loyalty to the cause to the best of our ability. Yeah, we haven't done the Italy one, but oh well. I can't be bothered to do another one of those. Like I said, it's the exact same as Germany's. But you know what? Since we are still around, let's do the French Union. Why not? It's something fun. I should give a little bit of a hint on how to do this, by the way. I'd recommend you do encourage immigration if you want to continue your game. I'd recommend doing French Union once you're at the end of your game. And that's what we're going to do, because we're at the very end. Oh yes, instigate workers' revolution in Britain. How does that work? This is actually kind of unique, because the workers' revolution in Britain does work a little bit differently compared to all others, Spain, Germany and Italy. The way it works for Britain is it removes cores on them for Scotland and Wales. So the idea is you do it a few times and then eventually Wales and Scotland will rise up. I wouldn't recommend it though, it's very weak. As you saw early on, we just took Britain without much of a fight. So I don't see any reason to do the British version of that. But if you want to experience it, I do recommend it. It is a sight to behold to see Scotland and Wales rise up. So you know what, it's not actually that bad. You get so many boosts to non-core manpower as France. I think just from focus we get 8%, And with this guy, Rene, we get another 2.5%. So that's 10.5% non-core manpower. That's very nice. By the way, Germany and Czechoslovakia have just been staring at each other for the last 3-4 months. Literally no one has died. And French Union. Oh, Danziger War. That's going to make this very interesting. I don't think the Czechs and Poles are together strong enough to beat Germany. But, if anything, this is actually going to give Germany a back door. Right, we're going to see which of the colonies will decide to become French. Indochina, unsurprisingly, says no. Syria says no. Central Africa says no. West Africa says yes. And North Africa also says yes. Nice. Now, that's actually quite good. The problem with French Union is actually the fact you can't save scum it, believe it or not. The game decides at the very beginning of the game what your odds are, and you cannot save scum this. So, whatever you get is just that. So getting 2 areas of France's colonies to join you is very good. So we turn Morocco into a core, and places like Guinea and Mauritania. Now it is totally possible to suppress the now rising independence movements in these places, especially considering France starts with armoured cars, but it isn't always worth it. You might want to release these countries as a puppet at this point. Your choice though. As I say, you should probably only do this at the end of the game. But yes, this is where we're going to call it. This has been a fun little look at one of France's probably most forgotten trees, loyalty to the cause. I mean, I think France's communist tree is probably one of the most forgotten in general, but this is the most forgotten of the forgotten. So thank you to whoever suggested this. I hope you enjoyed this little look at it. The thing with this focus tree though is I think it could be a lot better with just a little extra changes. So let's go over some of those, shall we? First one, revolutionary zeal. I think that should have a minus 50% war goal justification. It's just a simple one that allows you to spread the revolution faster. This next one is definitely a big one. I think that workers' revolution should be split in 2, so you have 2 unique operations. One should be called Workers' Revolution, and one should be called People's Revolution. What's the difference? Well, the Workers' Revolution would give the Civil War, and the People's Revolution would give the increase of communist support. I'm not necessarily a big fan of this RNG where you get a 33% chance of a civil war and 67% chance of ideological boost. But with this, if we split it in 2, it's guaranteed. So you have one where you can boost communism support and one where you get a civil war. And I think that would be quite unique as well, because France would be the only major to be able to coup other majors. That would give people another incentive to play loyalty to the cause France. But if you do have any ideas of how to improve France's communist tree, do let me know. I do think it's untapped, and I do hope Paradox gives it another look sometime. But yeah, that'll be everything. I do like the little changes they gave France in No Step Back, such as Rene's new portrait, the new party name. Those are just nice little details that I think should be done more often if Paradox can. It's just little flavour things that just make this game a bit more replayable, so I hope to see more in the future. I thank you for watching this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any suggestions in the comments below for future video ideas. I'm always looking for them. I mean, this video was a suggestion, and it was a very good one. But until we meet again, everybody, this has been me, Bubble Zest, in the Loyal to the Cause French Commune. But until we meet again, good